Ruth Dyson.
Mr Chairman, I didn't realise that the member who's just resumed his seat was going to do so rapidly. I want to begin by just endorsing his comments, and I did refer to both the ministers and the members of the Select Committee and the officials earlier, and I just want to reinforce that point that some people would look at this bill and say, well, and perhaps not get very excited about it. I suppose it's not a bill that you would get really excited about it, but it doesn't mean that it's not important, and it certainly doesn't mean that you shouldn't apply a lot of rigour to it and ensure that the anxiety that we referred to earlier is considered seriously and dealt with, even if we don't think it's entirely appropriate to do legislative amendments or frame legislation on the terms of unwarranted anxiety. But we want a system where people's confidence will grow and where the benefits of electronic identification are given to government departments, agencies and to individuals, but also that people who are using the system can have their confidence grow because of the rigidity of the system, of the rigour of the system, so that we're not likely to get the sort of breaches that we have been talking about earlier in the debate, but also that if there is some breach, that the appropriate penalties are dished out to those who breach it. So, Mr Chairman, I want to refer now to number 61 here, which is the only part in the bill, the only section in the bill which has an amendment from Honourable Chris Tremaine to make amendments, and it really draws further on the comments that my colleague Chris Farfoy was making in relation to Keith Ing, who was the what was the term he used? Citizen journalist. That's an interesting term. He's a blogger. He's a person who has strongly and competently held views and expresses them through social media and other outlets. I want to correct the Deputy Chair of the Government Admin Committee. The kiosk system was not hacked. There was no hacking involved. It didn't involve anything that bordered on anything illegal. It just was using the system in the manner it was intended to be used, but it delivered a whole lot of information that should not have been delivered to the people who were accessing it. So they didn't hack into the system, they just accessed it and kept putting in the details that they were asked to do, and suddenly got a whole lot of information that breached other people's privacy. So the point that Chris Farfoy was making is that if you read section 61, it's talking about protection from liability, and it says sections 1A and 1B apply to an act done or omitted by the Chief Executive or an employee or agent of the department, and in the course of performing functions or duties or exercising powers under this Act, or purporting to perform functions or duties or exercise powers under this Act, neither the Chief Executive nor the employee or agent is under any criminal liability for the Act. And the point that Chris Farfoy was making is, does this have any bearing on the example that he used, where Keith Ing went into a legitimate public space of work and income without any hacking or otherwise unauthorised or illegal actions or engagement with the work and income computer system, was able to access a whole lot of information that was personal and private to other people and should not have been shared. But he wasn't accessing it illegally, he was just following due process as I understand it. There doesn't seem to be anything in this section at all to respond to that situation. So I think the question that Chris Farfoy raised with the Minister, Honourable Amy Adams, is worthy of some consideration. The Select Committee didn't consider it, and that's for a very simple reason. That incident had not occurred. It hadn't happened. It wasn't in the public domain. We didn't know about it until after the Select Committee had deliberated on it. And given, as Chris Ockenvold alluded to, given the serious attention that we gave what appears to be quite an innocent and small bill, I know that our Select Committee would have given it further consideration in terms of the protection from liability that should be accorded to Mr Ng.
Kanwal Bakshi.
Thank you, Mr Chair, for allowing me to participate in this